You're watching Oilers Nation Everyday with Tyler Yaremchuk. Your one-stop shop for all things Oilers.
Everybody congratulate the Vancouver Canucks. According to their fans, they have won the series and will be moving on to the Western Conference Finals. Let's get into it with the lead. Okay, welcome to the show. Live from Vancouver in the Sports Closet studio. Can I tell you the other idea I had for the lead?
Please go ahead.
I just couldn't find the resources to pull it off. I was going to do the thing where I sit back with my feet kicked up, and I was going to say worried, and then I was going to light a cigarette.
That's a good idea.
Very Mad Men. Yeah, the way my father would have done it. Huh? Nah, I couldn't find a cigarette and no smoking inside. So there were two hurdles I could not clear to get to that edition of the lead. But anyways, welcome into the show live from Vancouver. And it is sadly not a victory edition of the show as the Oilers come out and, oh boy, how do you even, what word do you use to describe that? Did they blow it? Did the Canucks push back? Did they just get the usual bad game from Skinner that he's prone for once a series?
Collective. So we got up 4-1, but we weren't playing good. Like, we were just bad all game, and we had a chance to close it out with 10 minutes left and just had to find just a little ounce of focus and effort, and we still couldn't do it then. Because if we would have beat that team playing as shitty as we did, that would have sent a hilarious message to the other side, and we couldn't pull it off, and we lost in a very, very embarrassing fashion.
Yeah.
Well, Frank said yesterday, right? Like, the Oilers just need to avoid shooting themselves in the foot, and I think that's exactly what happened in the third period. The last two games they played against LA were the game 4. I think they adjusted to not trying to score a goal, just playing defense in that third period. And then game 5, they were really trying to defend it, and LA had a bit of pushback, got the goal. And I feel like that's what they tried to do yesterday, too, is just kind of like control the game a little bit. But you also have to play offense, too. Like, not having a shot in the third period until right at the end.
22 minutes without a shot.
You still got to play well.
Yeah, you still have to create offense. And that's what this team, like, what is it? Put your foot on their neck or whatever, right?
Put the foot on the gas.
Yeah. Well, no,
foot on the
throat.
throat.
Out.
Yeah.
Throat.
They should have a killer.
Yeah, you got to have it.
Yeah, BM is here as well, everybody. Hi, BM.
Hello. Yeah, I would have liked to see more killer instinct last night. I think that the Oilers, unfortunately, looked like they kind of hung the mission accomplished banner after the first period. They had 8 shots in the final 40 minutes. It's just not good enough. They can be better than that. And like Jay said, the fact that it was a 1-goal loss, I mean, embarrassing as it was, the Oilers played like shit.
The whole game. They were so bad. And we were getting gifted a game.
That was the Oilers C+ game. And I was sitting there when it was 4-1, and the Oilers, okay, they're not playing good, but they're up 4-1. And at that point, at least, it was like, whoa, okay, Stuart Skinner's made the breakaway stop. He's stopped the Canucks point blank a few times. I was sitting there going, the Oilers are going to win this with their C+ effort. And I was sitting there going, if they win this with their C+ effort, they never come out flat and play bad 2 nights in a row. I was like, they're going to be going home 2-0.
This is going to stop. They have to stop doing this. Like, what is causing them to come out and be so flat and brutal? Like, where is the urgency? Where is the hunger? They've learned to lose. Where is that never again mentality? It was just so disappointing. So disappointing to see us lose that game. Plus us being there and just that is also like that was very annoying. But whatever, I'll do that 100 times out of 100. But man, like, it's not like win it so we don't have to catch the abuse. Like, that's not the narrative I'm trying to say. But we caught a lot of abuse last night.
We took a lot of strays.
And we, like, Vancouver fans had all the ammo because we just absolutely shit our pants in that third period.
Yeah.
There's shit everywhere.
All right.
It was a mess.
It is a spicy one over in the YouTube chat. A lot of comments because there's a lot of Canucks fans in there. And I said, remember, Liam, I did my little rant before the series. I was like, don't lump the fan bases in as one. Because there are good Canucks fans out there.
Totally.
And there are Oilers fans who are not good. Who don't say good stuff online.
No doubt about it.
Some of the people in this chat right now that are Canucks fans are morons. They are the pull the sponsors off. We need you. They're the lowest IQ people I think even could figure out how to turn on a phone. Refs helped out the Oilers. You're an idiot. We're banning you.
We had
Next.
one power play and we scored.
Yeah, how did they help us?
40
And
seconds.
it was for too many men. Like all the ref has to do is count.
I mean, like, what are we doing here? And we got guys
Like,
in
the
here.
call on Holloway was soft, and granted, we killed the penalty.
The Connor Brown one was a bit soft as well. The holding call.
Oh,
It's just, I think last night too.
Canucks fans, I will admit, we shit the bed last night.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, but also Vancouver fans should not be coming out of that game being like, "Oh, look at us, king of the castle. I have a chair." That's a line from
I
Borat.
think it's fine to.
Very timely.
We are in Vancouver.
A lot of people were posting videos of them like celebrating outside of the arena and stuff like that last night, and I actually don't care about that.
No,
stuff.
I
think
love it.
that's
Good for
totally
them. They
cool.
got the W.
Yeah, and we did it too when they used to do the interviews by Wayne Gretzky statue there, and it's just fun. Like playoffs are exciting, but I don't know. Some people just take it too far. Like you don't need to be aggressive and stuff
Yeah.
like that. You know.
I was curious because this was the first time I've ever been to a game in Vancouver, and obviously the playoffs are a different animal. But like, I was curious to see what the fans would be like to us compared to what we got in LA. We took way more shit last night
Oh
just
my
for
God.
existing than we ever did in Los Angeles.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was pretty intense in there in some moments for us, especially.
Yeah, there was a guy behind us screaming in our ears, like
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah, he was right on top of us. And if you haven't been to the Canucks arena before, the top row, what are they? Upper section.
upper bowl.
They have railings,
Which I actually like.
yeah, I do too. And this guy was like grabbing them and like leaning right over on top of us. Like, oh, whatever, I guess. But
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Our boy Mandeep is in the chat. He says, "Don't mind us, Flames fans. We're just here to watch the show."
Yeah, and it's fine. I don't even want to like make the fan thing a narrative, but
No.
for me, it's just I just walk out with my head down, and then then you get piled on by
Yeah.
Canucks fans. Just like it just makes you more mad about what happened.
yeah,
Like-
it was a strange atmosphere in there last night. And Grant,
We had the building quiet.
It was silent.
Everyone was sitting back in their seats, had great views, and then all of a sudden, these terrible goals are starting to go in. Everyone's sitting on the edge of the seat. They're standing half the time. I'm trying to watch the game while this tire fire is happening in front of me.
Yeah, Dacky, regardless of the sides, it was a good game of puck. Someone else in here, two shots.
Terrible game of puck. What was
Well, it was
good about that
entertaining.
game?
It was entertaining.
Yeah, I guess if you're not a fan of the Oilers, but even if you just know hockey, Vancouver wasn't good.
No.
We weren't good.
Well, and that's where I'm coming off on like the Canucks fans in here being like 2 shots in 26 minutes. We own you. Like blah 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 blah. Okay, Connor McDavid was held shotless. That ain't happening again. It's the first time in his playoff career he was held shotless.
and they picked off a lot of passes. Like,
Yeah,
but that was
but-
because we're making bad passes.
If you're a Canucks fan and you watch that game last night, I would be, yes, you're happy your team's up 1-0. You won the game you're supposed to, game 1 on home ice. Awesome. I don't come out of that game if I'm a Canucks fan with a lot of confidence that I'm going to win the series. And as an Oilers fan,
I would. Why not?
Because you played,
You just
the Oilers played about as bad as they could,
But
and
maybe-
you needed bounces and a comeback to beat them by 1.
fair, but we also like the momentum's on Canucks side.
Momentum doesn't carry over game to game. Don't matter. We saw this in the LA series. The Oilers come out game 1, look amazing, steamroll them game 2. It's like, what the hell am I
I think
watching?
we've seen it in a lot of series too, like Colorado and Winnipeg, like game 1.
Yeah.
just Winnipeg won.
Gentlemen sweep.
Even like I'd be
Florida-
curious what happened to
Florida-
Florida.
Like in
Boston
this
this year.
fucking Oilers, I'm talking to you. This better be a gentleman's sweep. I am sorry, but you owe that to us after what happened last night.
Yeah.
I'll take 6 games, but it better be a gentleman's because that was just embarrassing. I felt embarrassed for them. And then I walked outside the building and got shelled on and felt embarrassed.
Ooh, look at that. We got another high IQ fan here in the chat. King Arthur's sweep loves. Remember, he had a 780 save percentage yesterday? 780? Yeah,
well,
780.
and,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
the others can't think like, oh, we should probably just shell this guy.
They didn't shoot again after.
I know they're
Hunter-
doing too many passes. Like just
Yeah.
shell them.
Yesterday on on Oilers Nation Everyday, we talked about play simple hockey.
Yeah.
Shoot the puck, get at the net, get in his kitchen. They didn't do that over the final 40 minutes.
Well, I would give like the first 10 minutes of that third, like them doing okay. Like they weren't getting shots, but at least they were kind of controlling and minimizing the damage. And then just
Ultimately, though,
Bad goals.
There, you need saves in those situations.
That's the thing. It just snowballed. It snowballed. That Connor Garland goal was
Horrendous.
It's horrendous.
Horrendous.
I didn't like the JT Miller goal either.
If Skinner wasn't in the net, that puck doesn't go. If he wasn't even there, that puck isn't going in.
If he had no business being as far out of his net as he was. If he, like you said, if he had just stayed in his crease, that puck doesn't go in, we go to overtime. Whatever happens from there happens. But the just mistakes in front. And I know a big talking point last night was Nurse and Ceci. And looking back, like those two made so many mistakes.
They were brutal.
They were bad. And I know this Ceci is what he is, and people are screaming for that parent to be broke up. I just don't see it happening.
I'd go Nurse Vinny next game. I wouldn't even hesitate.
I would too, but I don't know. I just don't see it being a solution.
Vinny didn't have a great game.
No, Vinny had a bad first period. I thought he got a little bit better later on, but he's better than Ceci. Point blank, he's better than Ceci. Cody Ceci's a liability, man. When he's on the ice, the Oilers get caved routinely. And against LA, the numbers weren't good, but you sat there, you go, okay, the eye test was fine. But it was the LA Kings. They don't have as much talent as this Canucks team.
I actually thought Nurse and Ceci in games 3 and 4 on the road were good. And
they are all good.
Yeah, but we joked like simple Daryl, but that's all he was doing was making like simple breakout plays, like not complicating things. Obviously, Ceci had a big goal yesterday in the moment. Like the third goal was good, but you go back and look like the Lindholm goal, he just leaves Lindholm wide open. He's so slow to get to his man. The Garland goal, I know that was a Skinner mistake, but even like the Miller one, like Nurse has an easy path out of the zone to just keep it going. It's 4-on-4, but instead he fumbles it into the traffic.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, he's in the back of our net. It's like those two cannot make those mistakes anymore.
So many times we couldn't get the puck out of the zone.
From our boy NHL Sid, at 5-on-5, the Oilers have been outscored 3-7 with that pairing on the ice.
Like, what are we doing here? You're beating your head against a cement walker.
Well, you should have got Chris Tanev. That is what you should have done.
Well, and yeah, sure. But now we're at the point where you can't do that.
I know, but like that just goes back to like, why the hell didn't we? Anyways, I don't want to dwell on that.
Or you have to treat Nurse and Ceci like a legit third pairing. That honestly might be what we're getting to. And you have to play Kulak and Darnell 18 to 21 minutes a night.
I think you treat Ceci like a third pairing defenseman. I think Nurse is ultimately fine the majority of the time. He does get weighed down a lot by Ceci. So I agree with what you said before. Like try Vinny there, see what it kind of does. Because Kulak and Ceci,
or do you
if I
pull
remember
Ceci?
rightly,
well, I was just gonna say,
like, do you play Stetcher?
Oh, I would play Stetcher. I 100%
former team too.
I would play Stetcher next game. I would have no hesitation. Or I was gonna say, you know what? It's the playoffs. Guys might need to play 25 minutes a night. Guys being Ekholm, and maybe in this instance a little bit of Nurse too. But I would, and I guess that Bouchard would be in this conversation. But run 5D.
I know that
worked for Dallas in round 1.
Yeah, run 5D. Who gives a shit?
I know that plus minus isn't like the best stat anymore, but that pairing, Ceci Nurse, were -3. Both of them were -3, and they played under 19 minutes last night.
Both -3, and they were on for a goal because obviously Ceci scored.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
All
Yeah,
right.
like sometimes stuff's gonna happen. Like you were saying, what was the stat you had there in the playoffs at 3-8 or whatever?
3-7.
So 2 of those goals were in game 1 against the Kings, where
Yep.
Ceci's stick explodes, Nurse gets another one. So like sometimes they can be a bit skewed, but just like watching last night, 3 goals against is
Even
4 goals against. Like
taking those
awful.
out, like
Yeah, like it's still not good. They need to be way better.
Huh.
Which is an understatement.
Understatement.
Yes.
Like it's just man.
it's frustrating.
Man.
All right.
Man.
I want to get to.
Would you try doing 11-7?
No,
now?
I don't think. I think with Henrique also being out, like I don't know.
Well, speaking of Henrique being out, I thought we were going to be rotating that top left winger more so than Matthias Janmark sticking up there.
Fucking Janmark, no issues with Janmark last night.
Oh, she's a
I had a
man.
couple. Like I just think sometimes he doesn't. He just doesn't have those instincts.
He's
right?
a low.
Like, those
He's a
things, I know
very
it is what
low
it is.
ceiling player.
But
Very
he
low ceiling.
played fine. Like don't get me wrong, but like sometimes like the pass was there and he missed it.
I
That's
think
kind
with
of the thing that
my thing with Janmark is I think he's way more effective in more of a checking role than
Yeah.
being up with Connor.
100%.
I don't think he played poorly.
No.
But ultimately that's not the best spot for him.
No.
So next game, if Henrique doesn't play, which probably leaning towards that being, you kind of go back to what worked earlier in the season. You have Nuge with McDavid and Hyman. You promote Fogle to the second line with Draisaitl and Kane, and then just put Janmark down on the third line.
Just put Fogle with McDavid.
I just think that that line with Nuge there was so good most of the year.
Yeah,
right?
I would reunite them. I think I would. I would honestly be tempted.
Or move Kane.
Okay, well, let's get into it. It'll be our Sherwood Ford Giant question of the show. Shout out to our friends, not just at Sherwood Ford the Giant, but at Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. Sherwood Power Sports Marine now officially open in Sherwood Park, and they got the service department for all makes and models of power sports and marine, including that 90,000-liter test pool.
There was a lot of debate around the test pool last night. It was a topic of conversation that a fellow citizen came to our table with and brought, and we had a lot of conversation around that test pool at Sherwood Power.
We also have decided we're going to have a fishing trip of some kind.
We were doing a fishing derby, I think.
That's
Nation
right.
Staff versus Sherwood Power Sports Marine.
It's going to be a great time.
I'll use the rod that I bought from there for Crawford.
I got a brand new rod that is just waiting to be used.
I've been fishing once in my life. And me and my dad went, and it rained the whole time. So I'm hoping.
So then you're on drink duty.
Lovely.
Yep. I've never fished before.
Okay, you are also on drink duty.
Oh man, you got it. I love fishing.
Oh,
so relaxing.
Smaller than a rec center pool, I learned, said Joel, who was sitting with us. He had a front row seat for that conversation at Black Frog yesterday. It was nice to meet him. It was nice to meet a bunch of the Oilers fans out at Black Frog before the game. A bunch of people in the game as well. But anyways, our giant question for today, and Aaron, maybe you could flash up the Oilers forward lines here just so we have the visual. But what would your guys' lineup be for next game? I see the chat. A bunch of people in the chat are clamoring for Sam Carrick to get back in. I would be okay with putting Carrick in for Derek Ryan. I think coming off a game like that, you want to send a bit of a message that the group of 12 wasn't good enough, so you need a fresh group of 12.
I don't think Derek Ryan should be that guy, though.
No, D. Ryan's been great. He's
so you take Connor Brown out?
No,
well, someone has to go if you're putting.
I don't know if I would put him back in, to be honest. I think Derek Ryan specifically last night got the assist on the Cody Ceci goal. He drove the zone with speed and then dropped it back to Ceci, who bombed it in. So
bombed it in.
Hey.
Connor Brown, just for the record, only played 7:35 last night.
And he served the Skinner penalty, which I found interesting.
Yeah,
he also took one, did he not?
And he took one, but it shows that they don't trust him on the PK, obviously.
Yeah, which is interesting. He's been a good PK guy. Maybe you do take Carrick out and put Brown.
Well, see, yeah, maybe because if Carrick has a fire limit to his ass, like he can be effective.
Yeah,
he can be effective. He had a rough start to the playoffs, but
with Carrick, like he's gonna put in the effort. Like he's good in the offensive zone, getting pucks back and stuff like that. So yeah, maybe you do try and rotate him in a little bit and bring a bit more physicality to the series from an Oilers side. Because again, like they were outdone on that part. Although Hyman did bury Quinn Hughes at one point, which probably should have been a boarding.
That's why I thought, arguably a boarding penalty. But like that was in the first period. I thought they did a good job of like hitting Quinn Hughes.
That was open, but that wasn't the kid. He didn't hit him into the boards, did he?
He did.
I watched the highlight. He's actually quite far from the.
Yeah, he was like right in that danger zone.
Yeah, it was bad.
Oh, here's the hit. Yeah, that was probably boarding. Whistles were away last night, but the Oilers were hammering Quinn Hughes every chance they got. Okay, just quickly, Liam, would Carrick come back in for you tomorrow?
Yeah.
Would Carrick come back in for you tomorrow? Brown out?
Yeah.
BM, I'll give you the last word on this before we get to the guest line.
Yeah, I think so. I like if he's playing 7:35 and he's not being trusted on the PK, then
what are we doing here?
Yeah.
All right, let's get out to the Star Mechanical guest line. It's Edmonton's #1 plumbing and heating company. You can find out more about their residential, commercial services, and 24/7 emergency services as well by visiting them online at starmechanical.ca. He is a Sportsnet analyst. He is the former Oiler. He is the host of the Midsoft podcast. He is Luke Gazdic, joining us on a not victory edition of Oilers Nation Everyday. Gaz, there's kind of three ways we could go with the blame pie from last night. You could say, hey, the Canucks had a great push and came back in the game. The Oilers blew it. Stuart Skinner. Which one of those three do you want to go to?
The Oilers blew it.
Yeah.
I just think the brand of hockey they played once they got up 4-1 was not admirable. They're best when they're drivers and when they're pushing the play and when they're skating. And I just thought they really took the foot off the gas. Like they kind of just sat back and let the game come to them. I think they thought they were just going to coast in. Like I honestly did too, watching it. I was like 4-1, let's just put this thing in cruise control, but you can't really do that against this Canucks team. If people haven't been, this is my only time during this show that I'm going to give the Canucks some flowers. If people haven't been watching them, that's what they can do. They're never out of the fight. Like they always kind of stay in it. When you think they're out of it, they'll stay in it. I just think they took the foot off the gas. Like, yeah, I want Skins to probably have a couple of those, like definitely the Garland one, even though that's a pretty sick move. Like I still want him to have that one. Nursey's got to be better. I think he knows that. Like probably the Miller and the Garland goal. He's probably got to have a stick. I didn't love that pair together last night. Ceci and him, they know they have to be better. But I'll just put it on the whole team. Honestly, it wasn't great once they got up 4-1.
What was your prediction before the series started? Before I ask you my question,
Oilers in 6.
Okay. Do you think the Oilers can still turn this around? Like, I mean, Jay, you were just saying you want it to be a gentleman's sweep. You got to go pedal to the floor. Like, do you come out of that game yesterday with any concern about your prediction? Are you thinking now, okay, after what I watched last night, the Canucks maybe can push this thing to 7 games? I came away from that, honestly, with the same take I had before the game, which was, man, if the Oilers are, I said before, if the Oilers are at their A+, Vancouver has no shot. After watching Edmonton with their D effort last night, Luke, I feel like if the Oilers have their B effort in the next 4 games, they're going to win all 4 of them.
Yeah, no, I'm not concerned. Game 1s, I don't put too much stock into, especially in the playoffs. And listen, if Seelovs is staying in the whole series, that's the only X factor for me. If Demko ever comes back, then all these things, these narratives kind of get thrown out the window for me just because of how good of a goaltender I think he is. But if it's Seelovs, that they have a chance every day of the week. Yeah, but Demko might be the one for me. They're still fine. We're seeing a correlation between teams that had a lot of time off versus like the quick turnaround in the other series, but they're going to be just fine. They just have to wake up. I think they need some lineup changes. I think it's actually a good thing that they lost yesterday. I try to look at glass half full all the time, but I think they need a couple lineup changes. They needed a little kick in the butt, and I think that'll do them good.
So lineup changes, what would you do? I mean, we were debating before we brought you on about bringing in Carrick and if Brown would maybe be the guy to come out. And I think before you were in the waiting room, we were talking about, do you bring in Troy Stetcher for Cody Ceci? Do you sit down Cody Ceci after how poor he was point blank last night?
So I started jotting some things down. This morning when I woke up, I slept on it a bit. And this morning I was on the mindset of maybe bringing Dylan Holloway to Connor's wing all the way up to the top. But I kind of have that scratched out right now. I think you go Nuge, Connor, Hyman. I would move Dylan up. I'd have Dylan on the left with Leon and Kaner. Basically, you're moving everyone up. Fogues on the left with McLeod and Perry. Janmark back down to the 4th with Derek Ryan. Bring Sammy Carrick in. And then Stetch comes in for one of Vinny or Cease. Take your pick. I didn't think either of them had a great tilt last night. I like the way that Nuge and that big line played earlier in the year. I think Dylan needs some more ice, and I think he needs to play with a driver. And I think that's Leon. A lot of this depends on what's going on with Leon. I know we did like a full CSI investigation on it last night during the intermission. Like, it's probably one of the only times during the broadcast where in my head, I'm just like, can we move on from this? Like, we have no idea what it is. And it was so minor. We couldn't really tell. But I don't know if Leon's hurting, I could see Knobs even thinking about putting Leon on Connor's wing to take a little bit of the brunt off him. And then he's not taking face-offs. He's more of a winger and just stacking up that top line. I don't like that though. The way that call them the third line for Vancouver's played the entire year, to be honest, but in the game last night with Lindholm and Garland and Joshua, that line's a problem. So that makes it even harder to match up against. You need to be deep down the middle if you're going to go against Lindholm, PD, and JT Miller. But yeah, I think Dylan with Leon, bring Sammy Carrick in the lineup. You guys know I love Brownie. Liam, I heard you say there wasn't much there. I thought that too. You can't take that penalty, that holding penalty at 4-1. You can't even put your glove on the back there. Like, that is a penalty 98% of the time. And I know it's playoffs, but that's not a penalty you can take. Like, I was genuinely upset in the room at that penalty just because it was kind of a turning point, to be honest. Things kind of went downhill from there, even though the PK was and still is really good. But couple lineup changes for me, and away we go.
What did you make of the way the Canucks played against Connor McDavid last night?
Played him hard. So I was interested to see who it was going to be. I thought it would be JT. So JT, I think, played 11 of his 14 at 5-on-5. Suter was 12 of his 14. Besser was 11 of his 13. So like that line took the brunt of playing against them and did a pretty fairly good job. I was also curious to see if they would have Quinn Hughes jumping over the boards every time Connor did, and it wasn't really the case. He actually liked Ceci Myers the most. It was D by committee. They stuck with him. You could literally even see shadows sometime. Like Besser, there was one shift where we followed Besser around and he was just following Connor around. Then they got in the D zone and he passed him off to Quinn, and Quinn was just following him around. They're at least aware of where he is on the ice at all times, which is a pretty good plan to have, but holding him to 0 shots is a pretty damn good job. I'm not going to lie. I said on the radio earlier today too, and I firmly believe this, you're not going to see that Connor for the rest of the series. I think this is game over from him now, honestly. Like he will and is one of the best players, if not the best player in the world, at adjustments, at seeing what teams give him, seeing how teams play him, and making adjustments on the fly in order to combat that. So it's always different watching something after it happens as a player. So after a game happens, you might think it was going a certain way, or you might think it looked a certain way. And then you sit down in a video room with coaches and your line mates, whether you're doing an individual session, whether you're doing a video session with your line, whether you're doing a team video session, when you see it from the top camera, then you kind of start to understand how it looks and how it's working. So it's always about taking a breath after the game, sleeping on it, and then being able to see it again from a different angle or different angles. I would assume that video session today for them helped a lot. Because they'll make adjustments, and I think it'll be a much better version of what you saw last night.
Yeah, I again, there's a little bit of pressure on them now heading into game 2, because you never want to go down 2-0 in a series. At the same time, never in trouble till you lose on home ice is always what I like to remind people. But I think we'll see a solid bounce back from them tomorrow. I look at, you talked about McDavid. We're probably not going to see him get shut down to that extent again. And I think about in game 2 against the LA Kings, when the Kings started to turn their attention to really just swarming him almost. And I'm sorry if that's triggering for Oilers fans to hear the word swarm defense, but when he was coming into the zone, it was 4 sets of eyes on him and everyone was gravitating towards McDavid, and he came back the next night, had a 3-point effort. So I think McDavid probably isn't having back-to-back slow nights. I don't think Stuart Skinner's having back-to-back poor performances like that, because he really hasn't done that yet in these playoffs. I do see a lot of reasons to be optimistic heading into game 2. Was there anything the Canucks did from like a systems perspective, or just the way they played, that surprised you a little bit, or looked like it was a bit of an adjustment compared to what they were doing against Nashville?
No, the only thing I would say is they were more physical than they were against Nashville. They even like Elias Lindholm, like huge hit in the first period, another huge one in the third. Juice was laughing in the studio. Bieksa, he's like, when did Lindholm learn how to hit? Like, it was every guy in their lineup kind of like finishing and following through on checks. They love the front of the net, so that's where they meet the physicality. Like, they love net front tips, screens, rebounds. Man, even I see that on the pre-scout. Like JT Miller's tip, they're going to be in and around the net. So that's where some of the physicality starts, but they generally weren't that team during the year. Like, they like to hit, but it wasn't a staple of their game. And I thought they just met the battle last night. And I thought they were way more physical, especially their decor too. All those big trees back there, they were way more physical than I thought they were going to be. And I think that might have caught the Oilers off guard a little bit. But they know now.
We were obviously in the building, so we didn't get to watch you on the panel. But the chat was absolutely loving you, going toe-to-toe with Bieksa. It was fun last night.
Yeah, it was good, man. Honestly, I'm having a blast. I'm heading over there after. I'm on every night here. So I got Carolina, New York tonight, but I try to call it not going to work. I try to call it just going to the studio, because honestly, it's a pretty fun gig, just getting to sit there. The games are the funnest part. You just, sitting in the green room, 2 seats down from Ron McLean, and Juice BX is beside me, and we're jawing a lot, to be honest. He sees the game one way, I see it a similar way, but we do have our discrepancies. So it's pretty cool, man. Live TV is no joke, to be honest. Like, I still get on the desk and get a little flustered sometimes looking for my words, but I'm having a blast, man. And trying not to show my Oilers bias too much. I'll tell you real quick before we go here. I was trying to figure out what to wear. So we have these nice suits, right? And they're all tailored. And I didn't know how, I don't know exactly, like I said, how Oilers biased I wanted to go. So I walked in yesterday and the stylist had already picked out some colors for me. And she doesn't know. She just likes what goes together. And I walk in there and I got a blue suit with a white shirt and a bright orange tie. And I was just like, do I go on the panel game one, just full Oilers get up, orange and blue, and really just announce my presence with authority? I was just like, no, okay, I got to go neutral. So I threw it away. But no, honestly, boys, it's a lot of fun. I think you'll see my homerism start to come out a little bit as the series goes on, because I can't stand BX selling for games like that too much more.
The extra, right? He's probably showing his allegiance, and I kind of like that dynamic. Like, why not?
Yeah, and you know what I love about Kev though is, and I said this before, I don't want to say he doesn't prepare, but what you see is what you get with Kev. He calls it like it is. Like, if it's anti-Canucks, he's not afraid to do it. He's just about the most honest, like, no filter kind of guy, but he does have still that passion with Van, and he didn't show it too much last night, but I can tell you, as this series goes on, it's going to be some fun nights at the studio.
Does your guys' bias come through a little bit when you're just watching off the air during the periods?
Yeah, and I mean, him not as much. Me, like, I remember I think it was the 2-0 goal, the point shot from Ekholm. I did a little Selly. I'm like, let's go. But really quiet. Like, I'm not standing up, fist pumping, but definitely it just got away in a hurry. And it's funny, man, because as soon as the goals go in, we're not even they're already rewinding it on other TVs. We're already back that up. We're figuring out the play where it broke down. We're watching it from different angles. So after they scored those 3 goals, I was just like, what just happened? What it just happened so fast. So hopefully a better night tomorrow, because I would love a nice little Sally on air.
If you do switch it up and go with the blue suit, orange tie, and they win, it's the rally suit, and you probably got to wear it every game day going forward.
I know. I might have to mix it up, even just a little Oilers flair, maybe a little Oiler pin or something like that. I think I got to have some little ode to Oil Country.
Okay, I know you're busy, but one more quickly for you. It's our Great Clips inbox question. Shout out to Great Clips with more than 4,400 hair salons throughout the United States and Canada. It's the world's largest hair salon brand and official partner of the NHL. Salons are locally owned and operated 7 days a week. For more information, check them out at greatclips.com. Great Clips, it's going to be great. Gaz, didn't want to let you go without asking you about what you thought about, the Sheldon Keefe firing. We knew it was coming. Worst kept secret in hockey. Everyone knew it was just a matter of time. But when you look at maybe some of the available coaches out there, is there someone that stands out as man, Leafs got to go get that guy? That should be the next coach.
You know who it is. You guys know who it is?
Is it Woody?
He would be great there. That's a roster that I think he would do well with. I said it in the studio last night. He needs a good mix of young and old. He needs a team with skill and speed. He needs a team that needs a bit of a culture shakeup. I don't love Chief in this situation, Berube. I think they need a hard voice, but I also think they need someone that can get through to these guys. They're not necessarily younger players. Nylander, Matthews they're not that young anymore, but I don't know. There's this aura in Toronto. There's this mindset of playing here, and they really buy into it. And Marner called it gods yesterday. I'm not saying gods, but there certainly is this little bit of swagger that the Leafs have. And I think they need someone to cut in between that and be able to teach, but also motivate and have these guys want to go to battle for them. Woody's one I thought of. Another one that I don't think they have the stones to hire, but he deserves a job somewhere, is Nelly. And Nelly, one of my favorite coaches of all time. I I think he would do a fantastic job. His style is really hard to play. That's why it didn't transfer in the NHL in Edmonton. He plays like a really aggressive 2-1-2. It is freaking like all five, like we're going. And it's a hard system to translate to the NHL. So he might have to make some changes himself. But either of those former Oiler coaches, I think would be a good fit.
And Frank is the one who made this list. We're not just throwing out all the former Oilers onto our graphic. This was Sarah Volley's idea. But yeah, I think Nelson would be interesting. The thing I've always heard about him, like the rumblings are he doesn't interview well, but at some point, some teams got to sit there and be like, hey, yeah, you don't interview well, whatever. The results speak for themselves. Like he's won at the minor league level. He's coached a bunch of different teams and they've all improved them. So I'd love to see Todd Nelson get a chance. That's a good shout by you. Luke, keep up the great work on the panel and we'll chat with you again next week, man. Thanks for sticking around a little late here.
Yeah, no problem, boys. Appreciate it.
There you go. Luke Gazdic from Sportsnet and the Mitts Off podcast and the former Oiler. I like the Todd Nelson show.
He made me feel a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, he really did. Like,
I am quite uncomfortable.
I think if you were to even look at the way I moved and sat during that segment, I'm a lot more relaxed right now.
It's like you had a cigarette.
Yeah, it kind of is. Luke was a cigarette of hockey knowledge, the way he calmed me down.
There you go.
That's why you got to bring on a pro who actually knows stuff.
Yeah.
And he's killing it on Sportsnet. Like,
he is.
Crushing it.
Great.
Also, just the way, listen, it's one game. It was a bad game, bad results. Let's move forward.
But to his point, Demko might come back in this series.
Late, though.
But yeah, late.
Yep.
And now it's going to, like, we're creating the circumstance where he can come back. You win tonight, and, like, you almost take away that outcome.
Mm-hmm.
Like, capitalize.
That's one of the most annoying parts last night is that Seelovs didn't have a good game. Just they should have been. The killer mentality wasn't there. Just fire him, shoot from the parking lot. That's my joke all the time. But like last night was one of those situations. The third and fourth goal against him were terrible.
Like it's sort of like someone just needs to stand up in the room there. And I know this is happening in the third period, but even still, like we weren't playing that great to end the second. We let him get one. Just like just never again. Never again.
People wanted this Matt guy banned. I got Matt banned in the chat. Don't worry, everybody. He's gone now. Can't hurt us anymore. Liam, you're getting a lot of compliments for your appearance on What Chaos today.
Yeah, I was on What Chaos today.
With
it was
DJ
good.
and Pete.
I didn't know it was a live show. I thought it was just like a pre-recorded thing. Next thing you know, I'm in there amongst the people. It was a good show. We talked about obviously last night and also my popcorn habits. So really
wide range. Yeah. Big shout out to Gaz once again for popping on for Star Mechanical and for answering our Great Clips inbox question as well. Oh, boys, let's do a little bit of betting talk here.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like that's what's so bittersweet. Like,
okay, keep going.
Yeah, but that's what's so bittersweet. Am I allowed to go on a rant? A safe rant.
Safe.
Yeah, a safe rant.
But anyways, last night, you're up 4-1. You're thinking all bets are cashing.
Yeah.
And to see them kind of choke that away when so we did our parlay, our little 5-leg, everyone pick something. And
all legs hit.
All legs hit. We just need them to hold on and win. So, yeah, that was a disappointing one on the betting front last night. It was one of those where I got guilty of it. You start looking and, what's my payout on this one? What's my payout on this one? You're doing all the math in your head. You're like, oh, wow, I'm going to clean up the beers on me after the game. And then it's just like,
I did get a cash out option on one of my bets, and I took it thankfully because it was going to be $19 less than my total payout.
Might as well.
And I'm like, oh, I'll take it.
I feel like I gotta own some of what happened last night because I got greedy on the puck line. Just keep it simple, maybe. I think that's gonna be my strategy in game 2.
Tomorrow's a short for giant.
That was my cash out,
and was the puck line?
I cashed out my puck line.
That was a smart play. Shout out to our friends over at Betway, by the way. You can get a free bet up to $200 if your first bet loses. Simply create a new account, scan the QR code by scanning the QR code on your screen and redeem your bonus. Place a bet with no minimum amount required. And if the bet loses, you'll get a refund up to $200. You can then use that money to bet on your favorite sports. This offer only available outside of Ontario. Also, saying the words no minimum amount required very fast is a very tricky thing to do there.
I'm going to tell you one thing, Betway. I love you.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm coming for you tomorrow.
We'll get aggressive tomorrow. They're winning tomorrow. Like I don't know.
But I just want to like hop in a time machine and just get it done. Like just get it done and have that outcome and be like, okay, now the series is back on the rails. Right now, I'm in purgatory and I'm losing my mind.
I think one thing that reassures me that tomorrow should be fine is the way they've just bounced back. Like this team in general, not even just against the Kings.
They came back from
like
the effing dead.
They shouldn't have to bounce back from that game.
But like you
And I just can't. I can't let that go. I can't let it go. Why can't I let it go?
Because you love the Oilers, Jay.
But like,
That
it
is
doesn't
why.
even matter. It doesn't. Like any team should have won that game. Who was up 4-1, up 4-2 with 9 minutes left.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter.
And another thing, people, we haven't talked about it a lot, and if Nuge doesn't hit that post,
Yeah, 5-2.
how different is
Oh,
hockey
the
game?
game.
It's over.
It's over.
That was a great play by
It's
McLeod.
over.
So just unlucky, right? Like that one in particular. Like Nuge, good shot. McLeod, great pass, and just.
But we
hit the
shouldn't have
post.
needed that goal. If that happened, it absolutely seals that, right?
Yeah.
We already got our lucky breaks.
Yeah.
We already got our lucky break. We cashed in on them.
Stewart already made big saves at that point, like the
Yeah.
Garland breakaway.
Well, that's the other
Cody
part.
Joshua on the power play.
I'm curious to why Gazdic thinks that was a sick move by Garland.
And that was kind of nice.
What do you mean?
Like to pull him out and whatever.
But,
you
like
know.
I just
Like
think
he
that
got
was
forced
such-
wide, which the defenseman did his job.
No, that
and-
was Nurse. Yeah,
And
Take a watch.
And he shoots it from the goal line.
he
It was
Yeah,
the
you're right.
fake shot. The fake shot, I guess, kind of freezes Stu, and then he has to open up to try to move over.
But still,
I
that
guess
can't
like
go
there
in.
is some intention there by Garland, but still it shouldn't go in.
I just like no goalie expert, but does Stu not just see him out of position even before he faked the shot?
Well, you can tell he was frazzled when he took the trapezoid penalty. Like that frazzled him.
So we didn't talk about that, but like
just
that
Like,
was just.
we killed it.
I know, but it's just dumb beyond dumb to do
but
that.
but that just shows you he wasn't on his game. Like,
I know.
He came out of his net and just kind of like lost the plot, as they like to say.
yeah, it was the same thing right in game 2. Like he just couldn't find his focus again. It felt like,
Mhm.
and I want to address something too. People
yeah.
were saying the arena was loud in the third period. I think it got louder as the period went on.
Fair weather
But
ass
like
fans.
even the pregame was so soft. Like it was so long, and it was like hard to build them momentum for it. And then, like, I just felt like the crowd wasn't in it until the Oilers allowed them to be in it.
I do like the U2. They come like the U2
Yeah, that
opening,
was
but like
cool.
yeah, you're right. It is a long production.
Very long.
Like when they started, I believe there was 7.5 minutes left on the counter, and they just went for the entire thing. And it's just like it felt very long. Like the Oilers do it like 90 seconds before or something like that. Right?
Yeah,
2
it's quick.
minutes tops. Like it was weird.
I do like the one Canucks fan who's in our YouTube chat, but is using their work Gmail account to sign
Yeah.
into their YouTube. With it's like a campground. So all their comments are like "F the Oilers," and it's coming from like a work account. That's hilarious.
I'm gonna book all your campsites and then not show up. I'll pay.
Yeah, get them, Liam. I'm gonna leave a Google review. I'm just kidding. I
Yeah,
won't
where's
do that.
Yelp?
Where's Yelp? Let's dig into the YouTube chat a little bit more for our friends over at Charm Diamond Centers, proudly Canadian owned and operated since 1972 with more than 85 locations across the country. Through Charm and their sister brands, you can get a custom ring built and delivered in less than 4 weeks with the Charm Masterpiece program, and it all comes with their unbeatable pricing policy. For more information, go to charmdiamondcenters.com. Amber's very excited because today's the day she gets to go pick back up her ring from being resized.
Oh, nice.
She's been without it for a little bit here, and she's been rattled. But when you get a quality ring from Charm Diamonds, that's what happens. Home of the Propos, Charm Diamonds. Scotteroni is in. Jay was right. We played terrible. We will be better. It's got the Scotteroni guarantee. Of course, they're going to bounce back. This is an interesting one from Oiler Snow. Where was Knob last night? Pull Stu, use a timeout. Come on. I think the time, like you're not pulling Skinner in that hockey game. Should have called the timeout.
Yeah,
When
I was
as soon as it
yelling
was
from my seat.
As soon as it was, I wouldn't even wait until tie game. 4-3, I go, boys, calm down. You're up by 1. We're in a great spot. I would have called the timeout at 4-3. I don't understand why, like every other sport, football, they use every timeout they have at their disposal. Basketball, the end of the game takes 40 minutes because all they're doing is calling timeouts. Why? Coaches know you can't take it with you. And what are you doing? Saving it for like overtime? But that's a loser's mentality.
Yeah,
I
what are you
don't
doing
understand the
for?
no timeout. Don't understand it at all.
You got to play in the moment,
Mhm.
not wait to see what happens. Right?
Yeah.
And I agree. Like calling that timeout would have been a good idea. I actually didn't even think about it at that point. But later on, it was
I
about
was yelling it from the seat.
yeah, there was like a minute and a half left, and the Oilers had the Skinner was already pulled. You had your offensive zone draw, and they'd already been in the zone for about 30 seconds, and then he didn't call his timeout then. I was like, you got a long time left. I get it. Maybe you want to wait till there's like 30 seconds left if you get another stop. But like, why not just get this over with now? Like, try and score now, not wait and see what happens again. So that was maybe just a bit of inexperience in what it was. But yeah, that barn was getting loud and loud and loud, and you gotta kill that if you're not blocking, you have the chance.
I would have called the timeout after the tying goal.
Yeah.
Just a reset.
Just a reset. Like, okay, now we're playing for overtime.
Yeah.
Well, try and get one. Wake the F up.
Yeah, I was surprised there was no timeouts, but like Nobby doesn't really call timeouts all that often, does he? He's saving them for summer.
They compound.
Yeah, that's right. Most people don't know that.
And Marco says in the NBA and NFL, the timeout is for a time stoppage. Okay, still, but you get my point. And there seems to almost be like a stigma around it in hockey where like if you call a timeout, it's like a sign of weakness that you're like scared, that you're worried you're losing the game. And it's like, but if you sit there in the moment, like you were losing the game, momentum was slipping away. So why would you not call your timeout, let your team reset? I know it's technically only 30 seconds, but when you do it after a goal, it's a little bit longer than that. So why would you not want your guys to just take a breath? I really, really don't understand it. Don't understand it at all. Eric, he gets bonuses based on timeout reserves.
That's right.
Laddie Schmid said on 1440, Knob made the right call, not calling a timeout. But why? Like, what's the thinking behind it?
Context behind that.
Yeah. 22 minutes.
Especially with the power of hindsight to say that.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I love you, Laddie.
22 minutes with no shot, and you think the Oilers got game 2. Yeah, because they went 22 minutes without a shot and lost by 1 goal. Like, come on.
I don't really care about that. Like they just
No, I care about that because
I
if we
care-
got shots, it would mean we were holding possession in their zone and not giving them a chance to score against us.
I just mean like going into game 2 that happened. That
oh
doesn't
yeah,
bother
yeah,
me at
yeah.
all.
No, it's not. Yeah,
It's game by game. Like it matters, of course. Like there is stuff that from game 1 will leak into game 2, like good and bad, whatever it may be. But like overall, like it's a completely different game. The Oilers just need to be the Oilers and not be the bad Oilers.
Ultimately, they have to flush it.
Yep.
What's done is done.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I liked what Gazdic said today too, of like watching the video. Like this is something I think they can definitely just learn from. Like just simple plays are gonna go a long way. Like the amount of times they iced the puck yesterday was so strange.
A couple real dumb ones.
Yeah,
Fogel had a
really
dumb
stupid.
one. Like,
Oh yeah, some bad passing too.
yeah, like they were not. They looked like a team that hadn't played in a week.
I do want to shout out Dry's pass to Ekholm. Holy cow, that was
yeah.
beautiful.
Incredible.
On that. We
But,
had a great path on that one.
Yeah, I know. So we had the
Yeah.
angle on it.
Even
was
I also
great.
like Nuge's pass to Hyman on the power play goal. They only got the one power play. They got the job done.
Mhm.
It was, it's annoying. But
I can't let it go though for some reason.
I get it. It is the way they lost is incredibly frustrating. But at
Yeah.
the same point, I can't have the team feeling that way. So
No, I
I'm
know.
going to manifest
Well, they're
my own
pros.
good spirits.
Yes, you know what? We have to manifest the outcome we want. So I guess I have to learn to let it go. But
Mhm.
I'm the fan in this equation, not the player.
Mhm.
Players going, they've done their team meetings, they've reviewed the tape as Gad said, and they're going to come up with a game plan, and they're not going to be the same. But for right now, I guess I'm happy that we're going to all go play pitch and putt later.
Are we?
Oh, we're not?
Are we? We are.
We need to resurrect the bet.
I got to be in a certain kind of mood to make that bet.
That's
Well,
just
hang on a
maybe
second.
not as an aggressive. Let's have a different bet then.
Yeah,
As-
maybe.
Like we'll bet, but it won't be for that prize. We have to build up.
You're
to it.
also playing some good golf right now.
I know, and that's why no strokes.
Yeah, you don't want to give me strokes anymore.
You beat me straight up, handedly,
Yeah, I did.
and I had to give you strokes.
Yeah, I would have beaten you.
That's
without
what I
the
mean,
strokes.
like, I
You're
don't
the
know.
one who's golfing. I don't golf anymore.
I golf.
I'm
3
retired.
times a week.
Yeah, so that's why I don't know why you're nervous about that bet, Tyler. I feel like you've got a Holloway jersey coming.
Yeah, maybe. My dad is in. He says, "Have a smoke, Jay."
Oh,
He says that could help with your golf game.
He's got-
I've got a headache. I slept with a Wolverine last night. I've got a raging headache.
Why did he keep
And
you
I'm
up?
just- Didn't stop moving.
or farting.
Well, I wasn't gonna call him out for that, but
I had to. I've never heard anything like that.
It was.
It woke me up from a dead sleep at 5 a.m.
We got a Canucks fan in here. Get a room, guys.
We do have
We
one.
are in a room.
We literally are in one right now.
Yeah, we do have one.
Yep.
Oh,
Actually, it's a suite.
squad's all here.
Don't
It
wanna
is a
flex?
suite. There is a door in the room. That's what would define it as a suite, right?
Yeah.
It's more than one room.
Yes.
We have
We have a long hallway.
Yeah.
Yep.
We have a coffee machine.
Mm.
We have a desk. We have two desks.
TVs.
2 desks. Yeah.
Yeah.
2 TVs. You guys have a TV in there?
Yeah.
I haven't even gone to your room. It's so
It's
big
so
that
far away.
I haven't
It's
made it
vast
everywhere
in
yet.
here.
Floors are comfy. I slept literally on the floor yesterday. When we
You
came in from
literally
work.
napped
have
on the
slept
floor
on
Yeah,
the
and I woke myself up from snoring a couple of times.
Wood Lake
very
Campground host says, "Get used to the golf course, fellas. We aren't players. We can golf throughout the entire playoffs."
I think that's always funny too. And like again, I totally get it, but like when you get chirped so much, it's like we were playing.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
But
I
I
have
said
nothing
that-
to do with this.
Yeah, I
Like,
said that
no
last night to a
outcome.
guy who was chirping me. I was like, you know, I didn't play, right?
I'm here to watch and enjoy it, like you. I love the golf course too. I can't wait.
A lot of people saying we're correct. Should have called the time out. Vamp is in. Talkett was the only thing I was worried about with Vancouver. And then Putter right after. Canucks went all in last night. Coach said like they won the cup. I mean, they're fired up. It was an emotional game.
Yeah,
I'm not
Yeah,
going
they
to
came
hold
back
that
from
against
4-1.
them.
Like,
yeah.
like, of course, that is so emotional. And that's why I just hope momentum doesn't carry over. You know, with the fans, the momentum's carrying over.
Mhm. But
Players are
look
probably-
at every series. Boston goes 6-1 against Florida. Pedal the floor, pounds them. Next game, what is it? 6-1 Florida or 5-1 Florida. Like it just totally flips.
I know.
It's
We
tough
gotta
in
look
the
ahead.
moment.
But
Yeah,
it
we gotta look
wasn't-
ahead.
But it wasn't 4-1 and Boston then won 5-4.
Dallas
it's
coughed
different.
up a 3-goal lead.
They did, and I
Oh,
don't think anyone,
Dallas
outside
had
of
to be spicy then.
I know, but and no one outside of Dallas is sitting there being like, well, the Stars are cooked. Probably going to be Colorado in 4, Colorado in 5, maybe, right? Like it's one game. It's one game. Doesn't matter how
We
you
gotta
lose
look
it. You
ahead.
lost one game.
We got to look ahead.
You know what I should have done because Jay, this might be the move for our friends at Betway. Do you take a look at the series price?
Yes.
What do you think it is? What's the guess? Guess the line. The Oilers-
Minus 150.
minus 150. Liam, I'll say minus
I think I
140.
said before minus 180.
BM, what do you think it is after the 1-0 series lead?
I'm gonna say even money.
Minus 135 on the Oilers
Ooh,
to come back
that's
and
not
win
bad. I might
this
do that.
series. The only
The thing I also smoked, which I forgot, that's what's funny. Yesterday was very profitable for me despite losing, was the first period.
yeah.
I smoked that.
And I smoked the Hyman shot prop and he crushed it for me, which was good. Oilers to win the series.
Are you
Oilers
looking up their campground?
I looked at Wood Lake Campground.
How is it?
It's not bad actually. It's a nice little lake. Campsite's right on the lake there. It's only 6 pictures though.
Hey,
So
get
might
more
wanna
pictures.
update
Get
it.
more pictures,
Look
man.
at this, though.
Jeez.
What the hell
That
are you
looks
doing
nice.
in our YouTube chat?
Educate the people.
Get
bit-
your
Bit
bread up.
rocky in parts.
Jeez.
But bring an air mattress. You'll be fine.
You're the Vancouver Canucks of picture game.
I don't know where it is either. Yeah, this is definitely him because it says West Harris and that's also.
You might want to upgrade this website too. It's a little
Hit us up.
90.
We can help you with that. BM can help you with that.
Yeah, let us know. We can
Mm.
probably make some upgrades here.
Oh, campground will open. Oh, it's open.
Oilers to win the series exactly 4-1 is paying 5-1 over on Betway plus 500.
I need more for that.
You need more for that?
What's them to win 4-2?
Plus 275.
That's
Oilers to win the series in 6 or sooner is plus 150. So decent
I
series
can
odds.
see us winning the next 3, losing, winning.
Get your bread. Yeah.
What?
Nothing.
But
the
over
chat's just
200
being
videos
funny.
on our channel. They got to. You didn't check the YouTube channel.
I
Liam.
didn't. I'm in too deep.
What
I don't
kind of
know where it
videos is a
is.
campground posting?
I don't know what. Oh, Fraser Valley.
I personally pick all my
It's not too far. away.
campgrounds based on their YouTube content.
You guys, we're gonna let you guys go right away before we get to our next guest.
I gotta go eat my feelings.
Oh, you guys gotta go hang out with David Quadrelli for an hour.
Big
Yeah.
Dave. Oh, jeez.
Big Dave's going to be insufferable. I also got to do a hit with Low Tide here in a couple of minutes. So I'm imagining LT is going to be asking about the vibes here in Vancouver too. So we got some work to do here today, boys. It's an off day, but I also feel like it's a day of rest, relaxation.
I might have to have a
recouping?
beer for lunch. Let's see.
Yeah.
This looks nice. I'm on the YouTube now.
How dare you?
Hey, he's not been. it's not
What
been
kind of
too
videos
bad.
are they
He's
posting?
shitting on us.
He's just do it yourself RV skirting, hiking from Wood Lake Campground down to Eagle Falls. Interesting.
Shout out Eagle Falls.
No videos in the last 6 months, so let's get
Yeah,
that out.
gee,
come on,
yeah.
Get out of our
those
chat and onto the website. Come on, we
Yep.
need some.
Make some
content
videos,
here.
man.
Come on, man.
Aiden
Grab your
says-
phone and go wander around.
Aiden says got lots of time to make videos when your team's never in the playoffs.
Ooh.
Owned. Oilers Snow, thanks for the show, boys. We're all feeling gloomy a little bit.
I know.
Little bit.
I'm cheering up now just because now we're having fun at Woodland Campground's expense. So I'm kind of feeling a little bit better. I'll feel better after lunch. I'll feel better after pitch and putt. I'll feel better after whatever we do tonight.
And then tomorrow, game day excitement.
Game day excitement.
I think we make Big Dave pay for lunch.
I think that's
the move today.
yeah, winner pays.
Sorry, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
I will be getting the entire menu.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Any update on Leon from Havana Sam? The Oilers didn't skate today, correct?
But we made a post just saying it was cramping and equipment issues.
So Nobby after the game last night said it was cramping and equipment issues.
So we're not believing that though, right?
No.
I don't think that he was moving all
Probably
that well in
back
the third
spasms
period.
is the cramping.
Yeah.
But
Well, that was that weird fall he took when he had the puck, but we were also just so many weird things. He had that weird fall, and then he went off the ice in the third there at the when we were trying to chase the game. And who else was it? Kulak again? Like who was the defenseman that fell?
Oh yeah, it was cool.
Kulak is known for that. That's his brand.
Yeah.
Just a random fall. Like maybe he likes to run real like short skate blades. And
Yeah.
it's just too much and then catches the plastic. Like, that's what it looks like.
I actually want to ask you guys quickly. Sekeres and Price, one of our Vancouver shows here, asked me this question earlier today, and they only asked it to me because they said Stuart Skinner brought it up in the post game. Do you think being 0 for 5 against the Canucks this season is in the Oilers' head at all?
I don't know.
it can't be.
Well,
It probably is to some extent, but like at the same point,
I want to say it can't be, but it's hard not to think about it
Sure,
right
of course.
now for us.
I don't think it's something that's lingering with them, but yeah, I think it's something.
You
that
can't
they're
ignore it,
we need
probably.
to end this.
Yeah, they got to break
asked,
that.
they asked me that on What Chaos too. It's like not really too concerned about it because at the end of the day, the playoffs are different, and I don't expect the Oilers to be like.
But it's
0-9.
carrying over into the playoffs right now, which is
Yeah, but-
annoying.
I think the Oilers played better. Well, this is the first time they played Vancouver and had like a chance to win or had the lead or something like that, right? I feel like every time.
Yeah,
they played
every
them,
time
they've
we
been
played
down.
Vancouver in the regular season, they were the better team.
Yeah,
We
so
just played crappy.
I'm not too concerned. I think ultimately, like one line kind of beat the Oilers last night. It
Yeah.
was that Dakota Joshua line, and that's kind of like just not ideal.
All right, we are going to step aside quickly because we got to let you guys
I'm
go.
going to disappear.
And then
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Woodland Campground. I'm sure it's a wonderful place.
Well, they subscribed, evidently, because they're in our chat.
Oh,
That's the
nice.
funny thing about all these Canucks fans. You have to subscribe to comment. So
Oh,
thank you.
That's great. Get our subscribers up. All right, we're going to let Jay go. Then we're going to get to a Boston Pizza playoff report. We're going to quickly step aside, though, for a break. All right, welcome back into the show. Big shout out to Jay and BM for joining us for the first half. I'm so out of shape. Literally getting up to move the camera. It took me out, Liam.
You are out of breath.
We've also been remarkably hard on our bodies over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's been people think these coming on these road trips is all fun and games.
Yeah, they think what we just sit there and crush beers and
We got to be
Well,
athletes.
actually, that is kind of what we do.
I walk so much faster when I'm with you and Jay on these
Well,
trips.
oh, dude, you
because
drive
I
me
can
nuts.
It literally, I drive you nuts.
Oh, you walk so slow, man.
I
You're
like
a
to
painfully slow
admire
walker.
the view. I'm
Yeah,
not
you're a dawdler. You're a dawdler and a
You
grazer.
two are sprinters. Sometimes I literally have to jog to catch back up.
It does. Oh, that's BM doing his radio in the back. It does work out because you and BM are both dawdlers. But anyways, let's get out to. We're doing a little Boston Pizza playoff report for our friends at BP's. That might be the rebound lunch play today, Liam. It's just you and I for the rest of the afternoon. Maybe we go for a nice little BP's date.
Is it really?
I don't know. They're out doing.
That's true,
They get to go do fancy lunches. Why can't we go to BP's?
We should go to BP's, but then we have to go and see the ocean for you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. All right. Our next guest is an NHL veteran of over 100 games. He was at one point a Vancouver Canuck. He's Aaron Volpatti. Aaron, welcome into the show. Appreciate you giving us some time. But did you know we have beef outside of the Oilers Canucks stuff?
Oh, man. What a time to have me on, boys. Yeah. I said I'd take it easy on you, but I don't know. I was going to say I was choking on my breakfast earlier. I'm not like the Oilers, but.
But do you remember probably 6-7 years ago, Team Oilersnation played you at the Jasper Pond Hockey Tournament?
Oh, was that you guys?
Yeah, it was before our time in the company.
Oh,
the two guys who were on the show before there with us said that you dominated the matchup and you eliminated Team Oilersnation from the tournament.
Well, yeah, I mean, we had no business playing in that tournament. I think we had 4 pro guys on our team, and so funny story. We actually got kicked out the next year we went back, and I have a buddy that let's just say he hasn't changed much from his 20s, and what year was Lululemon sponsoring it? Was that the same year? I think it was the next year.
Yeah, I think it was the next year.
Yeah, so that was this year, and they booted us out of the tournament, and we had to go spend the rest of the time in Banff. But anyways, that's a whole other story. So I'm glad we got to beat you guys. That makes me feel good.
Yeah. It still stings. It's still talked about in the office when Aaron Volpatti and his boys beat the shit out of Team Oilersnation. But anyways, let's talk about that game last night, man. You're obviously a Canucks guy. You're a former Canuck. You're a BC boy. Last night, again, Oilers total choke job. But was there anything in that game that impressed you from the Canucks perspective? Is there anything in their game that you watched that and went whoa, actually, they got a real shot in this series if they keep doing this?
Yeah, it's funny because I guess on paper leading into the series, would I say the Canucks were a favorite? Probably not. And then when the game started and they took the too many men and they scored it, I was just like, oh no, here we go. And I think like a lot of people, as the game went on, that was certainly the thought. But I don't know, man. I thought the Canucks, I would say, had the edge 5-on-5. So, I think going forward, it might be a series. I think they can't. If the Oilers go on the power play, it's not going to be good, as you guys know. But yeah, I thought that 5-on-5 they played well. I mean, I would say the Canucks bottom 6 I like more. So if they can keep your big boys, not asleep's not the right word, but manage that, then I think it's going to be a good series. If not, then it won't be. So yeah, I think the Canucks bottom 6 really impressed me, and I like the Canucks D. I know the Oilers have gotten a bit bigger and had a different look there, but yeah, man, I think it's going to be a good series. So
totally shut down Connor McDavid yesterday. His first career playoff game without a shot on net. Who do you give the bulk of the credit to from that with McDavid? I know JT Miller was flanked to him for a lot of the game, but who impressed you in the pursuit of shutting down McDavid and the success in that pursuit?
Yeah, I would say, Miller, collectively, I thought they did a good job. I mean, the D, Zadorov stood out for me. He scored that one goal. I can't remember if it was McDavid specifically that he was matched up with, but yeah, I think collectively as a team, like you saw, he got moving around like he does, but yeah, not a ton happened like the scoring chances he usually gets, right? So I think that's going to be a difference. And then I guess I didn't mention the goaltending. That'll obviously be a huge factor at the end of the day. So yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, Seelovs was it was an up and down night, I'd say, for Seelovs. He
Yeah.
made once the Oilers finally started shooting pucks, they got their couple in the third. They were actually both somewhat decent looks, and I thought Seelovs was okay. What have you made though? Maybe on the other end of that spectrum, we just talked a bunch about what the Canucks have done well. Other side, Elias Pettersson, he is just ghost town right
Yeah,
now.
he's
He's
gone.
not giving them anything. Is this just a guy who can't get up for big games? What did you think of his performance in game one? Do you maybe buy into the theories that he's banged up? Like it's weird to see a guy who for the first half of the regular season was so damn good turn into like not
Yeah.
even just like he's not that noticeable. It's like he's actively bad.
Yeah. It's so funny when the playoffs happen, like the Leafs went through it. Like there's all these mystery illnesses and injuries, and everyone's like, what the hell is going on here? So I'm not plugged into the team anymore, really. So I don't know what's going on, but yeah, it's been it's two different players for sure from the first half to now. I mean, the one thing that I notice is the body language is very like indicative of the play. Um, and so I don't know if that can be, addressed and maybe that's an off season thing or just in general, but I don't know why. But yeah, I would agree with you. Like something's definitely changed, over the last little while there. Um, I mean, like that's what I work with athletes now, and I always, if they're a professional athlete, I'm always trying to hint at like go back to like your younger self, man, and like just I think when you get overthinking it and you go down the negative uh spiral and cascade and the body language, mirrors that, then it's really tough to climb out of that. And just yeah, I guess, man, if you can just find like that inner kid, because we were all just free, and that's when everyone plays their best, when especially in the NHL, is when you're not thinking and you're just playing and having fun, man. And I think it seems like the fun has kind of left the equation a little bit for him, which is troublesome, I guess. But
And now, obviously, you said you work with athletes. You're a performance coach. I encourage people. We'll put the link to your website in the YouTube description here for people to check it out. But when you were a player, did you struggle with that at all? The whole idea of like now that you're in the NHL, you maybe love the sport less. It feels more like a job. Was that something you went through?
yeah, I think at different times. I mean, for me, um, and maybe Luke can resonate with this too. I think more of my anxiety came around the fighting and having that just so present in your mind that it starts to take over, the rest of the game for you personally as a player, where that was more my struggle with like I got to go be a hockey player here and not think about, Revo or whoever sitting on the other bench, just like when am I going to have to fight that guy, so that was more my struggle. But I think all guys go through it, at different points. But I think everyone will tell you when they're not thinking and they're in that, flow state, you call it, or whatever you want to call it, then that's when you're at your best. So definitely, challenges like everyone else. But I think mine came again more around the fighting and making sure I was playing my role well too.
I'm really intrigued by this sort of next chapter you've developed after your playing days. Is the idea, the performance coach, the mental side of it, is that something you were always cognizant of during your playing career? And did you ever have an idea like, oh man, like when I'm done on the ice, this is something I want to help other athletes with? Or was this a passion and a path that was developed because of how your career ended with the injury and because of things that played out during your career?
Yeah, a little bit of both. uh, this business that I'm in now came to be from my book that I wrote, I guess about 5 years after I retired. And like a lot of guys that play, I was really struggling with that next thing. Like, what the hell am I going to do with the rest of my life? I had to go work still, and that loss of identity was a real struggle. Again, I know a lot of guys go through it, but it wasn't something that I guess knew I was going to do after I played. But I certainly had the experiences and hence, the book, I guess, but
Yeah.
experiences of, the power of the mind and the visualization piece through, again, you guys are probably familiar with it, but just my burn injury. And I basically like blew myself up and was in VGH burn unit and told I'd never play hockey again. And so it thrust me into this other world, I guess inadvertently, right? But into the world of the human spirit and belief system through adversity, and that's when I really stumbled upon the visualization practice was in that burn unit. And then when I got to college, I had to go back and revisit that, I guess, superpower in order to get me to the next step, being professional hockey. So yeah, it's certainly served me well, uh, in my life, really, and definitely in my playing days in pro too.
You got to play in a couple different markets. Obviously, you come in with Vancouver, and again, you're a BC boy, played for the Vernon Vipers and all of that. What was and this fan base? I mean, we're now having a great. We're getting it for a first-hand experience, is what I'd say with this Canucks fan base right now. But what is it like as a player when you're playing in Vancouver? Maybe even compared to when you went to Washington later, which again, solid sports town, but not a Canadian hockey market by any means. What was this Canucks fan base like for you as a local guy?
It was, I mean, it was amazing, especially that run we had in 2011, right? I think I've never been to the Edmonton Arena or been in a playoff game there, so I can't really speak to that. I think typically, like, and a lot of people will tell you this, regular season at least, when you watch a game like in the different markets in the States, like Washington's, the Boston's, New York, Nashville, San Jose, it's arguably way better than watching a Canadian regular season game because it's a lot of corporate bullshit and like whatever. It's sometimes a snooze fest. That's different in the playoffs. Like you saw, the building was it was bananas last night, and it was pretty epic. At least that's what I gathered from it. But yeah, it's a pretty special place. The fans are, again, like all the Canadian cities are very, very passionate. Washington was different. It's funny. The fan base, I guess the difference is with the corporate stuff in Canada. Like when you go to the States, those people are paying for those seats.
Yeah.
My wife grew up in Calgary, and she used to go to the Flames games, and it's like your token example of the corporate. She didn't go there for the game. You know what I mean? And it's just like a socializing event. You're there, but that changes in the playoffs, like I said. So I think you saw that last night. Washington was interesting because I came from Vancouver, which is again typical Canadian market. A lot of media, all these things, very regimented in terms of what it looked like, for life as a player. You knew where you had to be at every time: workouts, video, practice, et cetera, et cetera. When I got to Washington, it was like a country club, man. I couldn't believe it was the NHL. I remember going up to Ovi like the first week. We hadn't had a workout. I'd been there like a week, and I was like, Ovi, do we have like workouts or anything here? And he was kind of like, in his big Russian accent, if you want to. And I'm like, really? Like, it was crazy, and it was too much, that way. And that obviously changed when Barry Trotz came in and reshaped the culture, and then they won the cup shortly after that. So they had to figure a few things out, but I feel like I was in polar opposites in terms of like culture and things like that. Washington, I loved Washington too. It was a blast there.
Yeah, because I was going to say you came in during that transition from Oates to Trotz, which I would imagine is just knowing just from the outset what I do about those two guys, like kind of polar opposites. Last one I had for you, you mentioned the 2011 run. So would you have been a Black Ace for that run?
Yeah, exactly. That was my first year. I played, I think, 15 games that year, and got I got called up around Christmas. Stayed until like February, went back down, and then came back up. I think it was after the Nashville series in 2011, and then I think we played San Jose.
Yeah. So what's the day-to-day like for a Black Ace, and like how involved? I'm trying to think of how I want to word this. Like, how involved do you feel as a Black Ace in the actual run in the day-to-day? Because that's something, I mean, there's been guys now on the Oilers, this is their third straight year of just coming up and just being a Black Ace. So what's that day-to-day like, and what is the interaction like between you guys and the rest of the team? How involved do you feel?
Yeah, you're not super involved. I don't
Yeah.
know what it's like now. We definitely weren't. You kind of were your like own little like practice team in a way. You skated at different times, so yeah, you're not really that involved. It's so I got a cool story for you, but it was Game 7 against the Bruins, and we're sitting in our Black Ace room, and I think it was Mason Raymond like broke his back, had a really bad injury. So AV Vigneault comes into our Black Ace room, and he looks at me and Alexander Bolduc and says, "One of you two guys is playing tomorrow. I'm not sure who yet, but be ready." And I was like, "Holy shit! I'm going to play potentially in Game 7 against the Bruins. I might play, 45 seconds total, but who cares?" Bolduc ended up going in. I don't think AV liked the thought of me having to take potential or get caught in my own end against Bergeron and those guys. So and he was a centerman, the other guy. So yeah, I was that close, man.
Did you like not sleep that night?
Yeah, I didn't sleep much for sure. Yeah.
All right. Just quickly to wrap up on this series at hand. I know when we were texting, you're like, "Man, I wanted to go to 7 so you could bring your boy," you said, to the game, right? But what's your prediction for how this thing plays out? What do you think happens tomorrow, and how does this series finish?
Yeah, I think as much as I want the Canucks to end it quickly, I think the Oilers are probably going to take next game. I think they're going to come out with a big response, but I got to go with Canucks in 7. I'm not picking the Oilers.
I know that,
just out of principle. But yeah, I think that opened up a lot of people's minds. Like, this might be a good series here. It might be a long one. So I'm going to go Canucks in 7, and I'm going to be in the building. Hopefully.
Love it. Absolutely love it. I appreciate you hopping on, Aaron. Thanks for doing this, man.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
There you go. Former Canuck Aaron Volpati popping in for a little Boston Pizza playoff report. Really appreciate him giving us some time. It's cool to hear about the Black Ace stuff too. A little bit. You're just kind of like off in your own room, in your own world, I guess you could say.
It is something that doesn't get spoke about very often, isn't it? Like, you get all these guys come up, and I suppose if you had that many players in a regular practice, like,
yeah, you just can't do it.
It's just too many guys on the ice, so it makes sense.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna move towards wrapping up this show. Yeah, campsite guy, buddy, get back to the campsite. Get back to making YouTube videos. I don't know why you're sticking around in our chat so much, but great numbers today, everybody in the YouTube as well. Appreciate everybody swinging by and watching the show today. Tomorrow, it's a Sherwood Ford Giant Game Day edition of the show. It's a Friday, so we're going to be joined by our pal Zach Lang at 1 o'clock. And do we have a regular tomorrow? We should tell Frank to do another hit.
Frank should.
Frank, what the hell?
He keeps criticizing our hotel room, and he's not even been.
Also, Canucks fans were doing a little victory lap about the and I don't think we have the picture, but when Connor Brown was in the penalty box and the green men were holding up their Evander, what's the parlay tonight thing?
Yeah.
That was dumb as shit.
Also,
one, save that for if Evander Kane's in the penalty box. Why the fuck are you showing it when Connor Brown is in the penalty box? That's dumb. Also, those green men do like a lot of stuff with the team. Like they were doing, Mason Raymond was there cranking the little wheelie horn thing of a jig. And then they show them every TV timeout. They show the green men.
They rely on them a lot. As the green men, it was weird. Like in 2011, those guys were massive. And obviously, like, we're not around the Vancouver environment at all.
They went away for a long time.
They were gone for a while, and they went off into their own lives. But they relied on him a lot. I felt like they just didn't have it that night. And also the gambling stuff is very funny with who sits on the bench for the Vancouver Canucks.
Yeah, if you want, and here's a picture of it.
Yeah, just Google Rick Tocchet.
I was gonna say, if you want to get Rick Tocchett's thoughts on this sign, Google Rick Tocchet gambling NHL. And anyways, maybe we shouldn't talk about that too much. But the point I was gonna make, again, the team goes to them a lot. They're involved with the team. Mm-hmm. They're allowed to bring in their props and stuff, which other fans aren't. I would imagine the NHL didn't love that.
That one in particular.
Yeah, like everything else is fine. It's all in good fun. But that someone at the NHL was calling someone at the Canucks today, being like, "Hey, maybe we don't do stuff like that."
And I am 90. So the Oilers took 4 penalties last night.
Mhm.
I think I was the only one that had a prop, and that would have been the Oilers' first penalty.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. Maybe it's just an absolute coincidence, but
Also, can I just, if you're sitting by the penalty box and you're an Oilers fan next game, hey, talk it. What's the penalty tonight?
oh my goodness.
Like, come on, let's hit them
Yeah.
back. Come on, it's fair game. Let's go. They want to go down there. It's like the Drake Kendrick beef. They want to play dirty. Let's play dirty.
Let's play dirty.
I'm moving around a lot today.
We are moving today. This couch, I'm trying to.
Better than Coach back home?
This little guy?
Yeah.
No.
You prefer our other coach?
Oh, I thought you meant
Our
one at
studio couch.
my house.
No,
Yes,
not
this
the.
is
I
much
don't care about
better.
the
I look good firm stuff. I just want to say, Wood Lake Campgrounds host. Just to go back.
West
to him
Harrison
again.
FSR. Yeah.
I think he's been actually a pretty good sport in the chat. Today.
He's been
Just to
fine. He's
give
just
him-
he's just a troll. He's
in
clean though.
In comparison,
To the people we've banned.
he's survived this long. We're not gonna put him in a timeout or anything like that. It's just go check out his campground if you're in the Fraser Valley area.
Hmm.
Free plugs, a lot of free plugs for him today.
I don't know. No, the Green Men, they're not employed by the Canucks,
one
but
of
like they
them-
work with them.
One of them is actually I won't say the name, but he used to be like a weather guy or something like that in the sports news.
Oh,
guy.
really?
Yeah. So I actually went to BCIT and did some night classes there.
Oh,
through-
yeah, you did.
and he was on it. Like we had a guest speaker every time, and he came on and spoke to us about being one of the Green Men. And I don't even.
And
think
they
he-
stopped because like tickets were expensive. and
No,
stuff,
they
right?
stopped because one of them moved to Saskatoon. One of them
Oh.
lives in Saskatoon now, so they come in on special occasion.
Mm.
So yeah, they were. Look, it's cool. Like everyone has their niches. We have so many guys like that go and dress up for Oilers games. Like we
Yeah.
saw Banjo guy yesterday, and McMullen, obviously Superman, Magoo, all those guys. And Vancouver is a Green Man.
Yeah. All right. What if there are no Green Men next game? Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that would be funny. Quickly before we wrap it up around the NHL, Keefe. Who do you like to replace him? I know Gaz said Woody. I think Woody would be a great pick.
Yeah,
I got a funky, fresh feeling that money and power talks, and they're going to get Joe Quenneville.
Oh, that'll be an interesting one. Yeah,
I'm not giving any take on that. I'm just saying that's what I think.
yeah. I think they'll go with more of a hard coach
Hard ass,
guy.
yeah.
Yeah, because I think Keefe is a good coach.
I think he's fine.
I think the players really let
And
him
I think
down.
the players let him down totally. Like you can't it's not like Keefe sat in the room and was like, "Hey, Mitch Marner, play shitty."
yeah, like,
At the same time, this year he was a bit of a distraction with some of the weird quotes and things like that.
it did feel like he made his bed.
Yeah,
You know,
and I think he knew it was coming.
yeah, I agree. So, yeah, Quenville would be interesting. I do think Berube is just going to be one of those. Can we get those lists back up, Aaron? Because there's a lot of guys on there. Dallas Eakins is obviously not going to go there. I really don't think they'll go with Woodcroft. Like Boudreaux, no. Jeff Blashill?
No, I think they're going with someone experienced. They're
Maybe
going.
Todd.
I could see Todd.
They'll go with a lame hire.
Can you imagine if Tree Living's like, you know what, fucking Daryl Sutter?
Why
not?
To his credit, he's not afraid to pull the trigger on a move.
Mhm.
So the
Yeah.
Mitch Marner thing is going to be very intriguing. It's going to be depending on what happens in Edmonton, like I still think that'll be an interesting summer for them. But like Toronto's the other team to look at.
Maynard keeps saying Berube to New Jersey. I think it'll be Berube to New Jersey as well. And then give me Quenneville to Toronto. Give me who can you flash up the vacancies, Aaron? The actual teams with vacancies.
St. Louis,
give me Woody to the Kings.
St. Louis got what's his name?
Yeah, you got to swap
yesterday.
St. Louis for Winnipeg on this
Right,
actually,
right.
because
So-
Winnipeg. I'm gonna go from the bottom up: Toronto, Quenneville, Winnipeg, Scott Arniel, Kraken, Todd Nelson.
I was going to say Todd McClellan.
Oh wait, Kraken, Todd Nelson or Todd McClellan,
Yeah,
Sharks, Todd Nelson.
that I don't mind that.
Because I don't think a lot of experienced guys want to do the Sharks thing, even with Celebrini, and I think this is a good chance for Nelson to get his foot in the door and finally get an NHL gig.
Yeah,
Devils, Berube, Kings, Woody.
Kings Woody.
I think you heard him when he did that interview with, I think he was on Kipper and Bourne, right?
Yeah,
And he's going to the Worlds with Hockey Canada. He's getting ready to get back into the mix here, but he talked about how he didn't want to pay attention to the Oilers after he was fired.
Who's the GM of that hockey camp? Oh, it's Rick Nash.
Rick Nash, yeah.
Where's
Columbus.
he working?
Ooh, Columbus.
Rick Nash. Jay Woodcroft. Because I mean, like they haven't fired that coach yet. But
They haven't fired the coach, but they're going to fire him as soon as they get a GM in there.
yeah,
And Rick Nash apparently isn't going to be the GM, was told they're gonna like go outside or whatever, which I think might piss off Rick Nash, and I think Rick Nash could be an interesting GM candidate somewhere else at the end of this season.
Yeah, like this upcoming year, the one
This I think even this summer, depending on the way things go. We keep forgetting because we're in the thick of a playoff race. The Oilers are going to hire a GM this summer. That's going to be a massive hire.
Yeah, that is going to be big, and like obviously, I think Knobloch is going to be safe because of Jeff Jackson,
and he's got a 3-year deal, and
and like
Jackson made that
a great job.
Like Jeff Jackson's going to make this hire, and he's obviously going to sit down with whoever the potential GM is and be like, "This, you have to be okay with Chris Knobloch." So
yeah, and I think it's not a hard thing to say. Like, hey, you got to be good with this guy. Right?
All right, 90 minutes flew by today.
I think Jay Woodcroft to Seattle is an interesting one too.
I think if LA, man, you just sit there and it's almost like I can't beat them, join them. Like we can't beat the Oilers, so let's see if Jay Woodcroft can figure out how to beat the Oilers.
They just like I'll tell you how to beat the Oilers, LA. Don't play 1-3-1
and Woody
refuse to adjust your special teams.
Yeah. All right. Shout out to our friends at Short for the Giant Sports Closet. That is going to be a wrap. New episode of Real Life's going to drop later this afternoon. Tomorrow, Short for Giant Game Day, double pregame show, hour of us live at Greta in Vancouver. If you're in Vancouver, come on down, watch the pregame show, hang out with us, play some games.
I've got to say one thing.
Yep.
Come to Greta.
Yep.
Shaquille O'Neal yesterday got a Zach Hyman jersey signed from Zach Hyman. I thought that was an incredible thing. Yeah. It's the two most random athletes ever.
Yeah.
To have a connection.
Shaq Hyman, baby. Okay, we'll see you in Vancouver tomorrow, everybody. If not, noon Mountain Time, right back here, same time tomorrow. As I watched PTI for the first time in a long time again.
Do you have the Canadian flag?
Yeah, the Canadian flag. Same time tomorrow, knuckleheads. We'll talk with you then. See ya.
Thank you for watching Oilers Nation Every Day. Hit the subscribe button to never miss a show. And for more, visit Oilersnation.com.